Okay, let's talk about Impact's inline email editor. So to get to the editor inside of ACT, go to Impact Suite, Email Automation, select one of your emails or create a new one. I'm going to modify an existing one. There are a couple sections here of the email editor. One is a top toolbar. I'll go into details about each section in a minute. This is the email header, the to and the from, right? This is, of course, the email editing area. That's where you type in the email. And the last part over here on the right, probably the most important part, we'll go into details about it, is who you're sending it to, which group, which contacts. All right, at the top, we, of course, have our ribbon at the top. And these are just some basic editing functions for the email up here. So if I wanted to come along and make a word bold, of course, we have bold there. We can start out actually here on the left. Save as. Alignment, left, center align, right? Things like that. Of course, the bold italics and things. The spell checker. If you want to run a spell checker, you can run it on there. But if you do have a typo in there, it's going to show you the typo. The next ones are specific to this email program. One is insert a field right here. So if we start out saying, on our email, dear so-and-so or dear Tom, up here is insert a field. That shows you all the fields in your database. So of course we want to type in F and find the first name. We want to use the first name after dear. So I'm going to say insert the field. And as you can see, it inserted first name. The second button here we have is embedded image. So if we want to put an image, an icon, your company logo in here. So say we want to put our company logo, we're going to say embed an image. And I have email folder, and here I have an image. So I can say, our impact up here, and there's our company logo. Now it's embed image because the image is actually embedded inside the email. It's not a link to it or it doesn't get pulled. It's embedded inside the deliverable email. The next option up here is to attach a file. So if you want to attach a file, you can select the files on your computer. You can also attach a file from a template, a little more advanced, but that can happen on here. The next button is the campaign name. When we created the campaign, we gave it a name, and we can change the campaign name. But the campaign number is a unique number that's used on the automation process, on the campaign management and everything else. That can't be changed. So I can say tutorial for demo. Again, we just changed the name of it right there. The next button is show code. Very advanced. I'm going to flip on it and we're going to say show code. This is the code behind. So as we can see, we have things set up like that image is a link and it will open up impactact.com. Border styles are colorized and things like that. You can edit it here, and if you want to, type in your own words, you can. Or if you just want to change the value of a color rule, that can be done right inside here. But I suggest, unless you're very advanced in here, just to change the color, the fonts, and things right inside of the editor. The last button is the preview email. What that does is it merges together this email from the template with the current record, just happens to be the current record that's back there in ACT, and will create an email ready to go out in Outlook. So if I click on preview email, here it is. And we were on Chris Hoffman's record, so it says, "Hi Chris, here's your quote, dear Chris." And again, it's showing you a preview. This is the actual email that's going out. It should be 100% of what the editor says, but this is a great visual view or a testing capability. I want to send it to myself just to test its deliverability and what it looks like under the preview mode inside of here. So that's a great tool, the preview email. The next section, of course, we talked about is this header area, the header of the email. And what's held in this header is the to lines and things like that. So if we say go to, these are the email fields inside of your ACT database. So in this demo database, there's a personal email and an email field. So I'm just going to use the email field. If you have the husband's email address, wife's email address, multiple email address, you can direct the email sent to any email address inside of the ACT database. That's the to. We can CC ourselves. So if we want to CC a manager, we can do that. Just type in his address. But we can also CC the record manager. This is very useful when sending out emails like the estimated close date of opportunity is coming forward. So you're notifying the contact who's attached to the opportunity, but we want to CC the record manager of that opportunity. So he also gets a notice that, hey, an email went out to Tom 3 days before the estimated close date. The subject line, we could put in here, hi. Again, hello, Tom. Let's be a little more formal. It doesn't really matter. Hello, and we could say our first name field, or again, any field inside of here. So we say first name to Tom, here is your quote, or here is your schedule, here's your appointment, your activity is scheduled for the, whatever information we want to put in, we can put into here. The last thing is scheduling this email. If I click on this schedule button, it's going to ask for your username and password. That's because this email automation runs independent of ACT on your PC. So it could run at 4 o'clock in the morning when ACT is not even open. And under that condition, it needs to log into the database and it needs your credentials. So those credentials are saved with this email. So I'll just say okay to that. Once it checks that that credential is correct, then it comes forward with this scheduler. Now this is a standard Windows task scheduler. And really the only thing you really want to look at initially is the triggers. The trigger is when does this automation happen? I could see that I defaulted when you create a new one to 2 a.m., but you may want to edit that. And I'm going to come in and say, I want to send it out at 11 or 11 a.m. I could set that it sends one time, weekly, monthly. I could set patterns. All this is recurrence patterns of Windows automation, auto task schedulers. All right, so I could say okay to that. So it's now scheduled. There are other things underneath here that are more advanced. Say if you're on a server, a true server, not your desktop, laptop, about run with privileges and configurations and things like that. Again, all standard Windows scheduling stuff, all available for information under Google to understand what they do. But triggers is probably the only one you're really going to need to know when running it on your own personal PC. So I'm going to say okay to that. And now we see that the icon changed to stop because there is a schedule under there. I can stop it at any time. Up here at the upper right, it says daily at 11 a.m. every day. That's what we set up in the scheduler. If I need to change it, I can click on it. I can go back in to change it. And if I want to stop this, now I have it started, it's sitting in the background. It's not 11 o'clock, so it hasn't ran yet. But if I say, oh, this is wrong and everything else, if I just click on stop, I'll say stop this campaign, and the campaign is stopped. It's never going to run until you actively schedule it again. Okay, the next section is the pure editor. So that's, this area over here. This is the editing portion of your email. Inside of here, it's just a editor, type along and fill in your information. We basically went over a lot of it up here on the navigation bar. I can change anything I want in here, insert images, pictures, links. There's a small toolbar up here, which will do some functionality like colorization. You want to color a specific font. You want to make the font a different, sorry, you want to make the text a different font, you could do that. You can highlight everything and say, okay, make everything Arial black now for me. Again, it's a simple editor. And there are color rules, or bullets and numbering. So if I want to add in bullets, numbers, I can do that. So line 1, line 2, line 3. Again, editing tools. Over here is our link. Well, you can see we have a link here. If I double click on that link, that's just it. You just come along and enter in your protocol, which everything nowadays is HTTPS. The destination, where you want it to go, and the target. Target, always leave it blank. Blank means it'll open up a new browser tab for you. And underneath here, I can see that this sample is not only this drives us to that link, drives to impactact.com data entry, but it will also pass the CID, which is the contact ID, and the CAM, which is the campaign ID. So that's what's done inside of here. Things like tables, we can add. So if you wanted to, draw a table, then we can put tables into here. Once you have a table on the list, if you click on it, then I can go into the properties of the table. I can say, well, I only want the table to be, 60% wide, and I want the background color to be this nice yellow, and I'll say, okay, there it is. If I wanted to center the table, I have a table centered, and I can do anything I want inside of a table. If I want to embed an image inside of a table, I can do that. So embed an image, and we have a small image here to do. And this table in the editor, it gives you the targets so you can kind of resize it and things like that. But what happens in the editor, this is line 3, and you'll see it says line 1, 2, and 3. When you preview it, it doesn't show you the outlines of like the cells. So in fact, if I just click on the preview right now, you see that it doesn't look like the editor. It's a little bit different, but it's this is the deliverable. This is what it's going to look like when you send that email. Okay, let me just unroll, Control Z, unroll some of these changes. Just kind of roll back to that. All right. What I can do, because I left this insert field on, I can toggle that on and off. So when you need it, you can turn it on and add the fields. But if you want the real estate, you just close it back down. Okay, the last section, and probably the most important section inside of here, is this area over here to the right, which is how you select which contacts are getting this email. Again, we have a nice email. We have it scheduled to run at 6 o'clock every morning. Who does it get sent to? So inside of ACT, you have groups, right? So if I click on the group, these are all your groups inside of ACT. This is ACT's demo database. These are the groups that come with the ACT demo database. And inside of these groups, I have a little option here that says show the contact count. So it's actually going to show me how many contacts are in each group inside of here. If you have a very massive database with a lot of groups, turning this on may take a couple of seconds, 5-10 seconds, for it to get all those totals. Now, not only can you use groups, you can use lookups. So you can create your own lookup, which is really how you create a group anyway, but you can create a lookup. So I have this lookup here outside the US. And since it's a lookup, I can edit it. And this is ACT's criteria builder. This is how we created the lookup. So we said something as simple as the contact country does not contain United States. Now you can have 10 criteria inside of here, multiple criterias. Like I may want to create a old closed data. Let's look at this one. Right, so here we go. This is a great one. This is give me all the contacts where the opportunity estimated close date is within 7 days. So this starts talking about opportunity. So this will automatically send out an email to the contact when the estimated close date is about to expire, or 3 days before. In this case, I said 7 days before. And if I hit preview, It's showing me everybody in the database. There's 7 records that match that criteria right now. I'll just say okay to that, or I can edit the criteria. I'm just going to cancel this. I'm going to select, I have one in here called, I'll just select old closed data, right? So if I select that one, I'm pretty much done here. I've set up my email, I've edited it, I put my graphics into it, and I've selected my old close date. Now I turned the schedule off, but that's okay for the moment. So I'm just going to say save and close. And here it is, tutorial for today. Hello, it's in the group. See, it says group G. That's a group, but it says L because it's a lookup. So I used a lookup in here. And if I go to modify this, let's put back on Chris Hoffman is the demo database user. I'm going to put on Chris Hoffman. I'm going to leave the trigger at 2 a.m. at the moment, and I'm going to save and close. You can see now that our email campaign says, hello, gives you a bit of the subject line. It runs on the schedule daily at 2. There are 5 in this. We have 0 sent, and we've set the daily limit to 100. Okay, what is the daily limit, and why do we have one? Well, we're not an email marketing engine, right? So we're not going to send out 40,000 pieces of email, nor do you ever want to send out 40,000 pieces of email inside of here, because this is using your personal email, your Outlook account, to send and receive emails. So if you send out 40,000, you're going to get closed as a spammer, which you are at 40,000 from a desktop application. But this is an email campaign target marketing designer. So I'm sending out 9 emails that, hey, your estimated close date is coming along. Okay, as you can see, we have a daily limit over here, and we've set the criteria to be this old closed data, which brings forward 9 contacts. I know that by hitting the show. Oh, sorry. Brings forward 5 contacts that match that criteria. And it's only going to send out 5. Now, if you're looking to send out, 10,000 emails, you really want to go to a full-blown email marketing engine, campaign manager, and everything else. This is a targeted marketing campaign where I can send out a couple hundred a day. If you want to send out, like say if you had, I don't know, we'll just say 2,000 contacts that you haven't reached in the last 180 days, and you just want to give them a touch email. How you doing? How you been, Bob? Like to talk to you again. Again, you don't want to send out 1,000 a day, so this is what the daily send limit is about. I want to send out, so say if I did have 1,000, or say I had 10,000 pieces of email that I want to touch with those. Again, if you want to send out 10,000 that day, again, different system, you want a marketing engine campaign like AMA to do that. I may want to send out, over the course of time, 10,000 pieces of email, but I only want to send out 100 pieces of email a day because my sales guys are going to get phone calls. If I have one sales guy and he gets 100 phone calls that morning, well, what good is that piece of email that I sent out? It's just going to overload him, and he's going to drop 90% of those. So I want to send out 100 pieces of email, or say 200 pieces of email a day, where he gets 3 great qualified leads. Again, these are qualified. This is in your database. So he picks up 3 great leads for those 200 emails that he sent out a day. So that's the daily send limit. And now you can start seeing how we rotate around, and you could do multiple things inside of here. One is, I could say, first, grab me those 5 contacts who estimated close dates coming on and send them an email. So that's your current activities that you have, the current data. But you can now also farm some of your old data and send out, hey, on top of sending those out, send out 200 pieces of email to everybody I haven't talked to in 180 days. And it will send them over and over and over again. So if I close this down, that's what this sent is about. So it says I have a total of 5 in the group, but it has sent 0. So as that rolls over, it's going to tell you how many of those went out. And it'll actually even give you a history of which emails went out on those dates. So that's the email campaign editor inside of Impact Suite. I want to thank you for attending.